Welcome back. The Brooklyn Nets schedule drop review. Interesting schedule, and a lot of Net fans are up in arms saying they're going to start 0-20, 0-18, 0-20, 0-20 is what I keep hearing. Guys, smash the like button, subscribe, follow me at 3D Boxing Blog on Twitter. I can't see that at all. So they open up game one with a very winnable game. And it's an interesting game. And if you gave me the schedule and didn't say what games are going to be nationally televised, I would have thought that this would be an NBA and TNT game. So on October 23rd, they open up with Atlanta. At Atlanta. And you get the first overall pick, Zachary. I'm going to get this right at some point. Risha. Then you go 2 days later at Orlando, and then 2 days after that you have your home opener against Milwaukee, and then 2 days after that you have Denver, and then you have back-to-back at Memphis. So your first 5 games, only one of those games are winnable, you would think, and that's at Atlanta. But I'll go over the first 20 games. Atlanta, at Orlando, Milwaukee, Denver, at Memphis, Chicago, Detroit, Memphis, at Boston, at Cleveland, at New Orleans, home for Boston, back-to-back at the Knicks, Charlotte, at Philly, at Sac, at Golden State, at Phoenix, home for Orlando. You have 2 straight home for Orlando, so that's 2021. At Atlanta is a winnable game. They had great games with Atlanta last year. They've beat Atlanta, and they beat them 3 times. They can beat Atlanta. I'm not saying that they're going to. Atlanta took a step back. Bridges and DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray's probably the better player. He's gone. So Atlanta got lost just as much, if not more, than Brooklyn did. So why we're just saying that Atlanta is so much better than Brooklyn isn't really reasonable. I think Atlanta's going to be tanking as well. At Orlando, probably a loss. Home for Milwaukee and Denver, probably losses. At Memphis, likely a loss. Then you're home for Chicago, Detroit, and Memphis. Those are all winnable games. Now, look, the Nets are going to do a lot of losing. They're going to do a lot of losing. But so is Chicago, and so is Detroit, and you're home for Memphis. Those are all winnable games. They're all winnable. I'm not going to say you're going to win all of them, but you'll get 1, if not 2 of them, and you'll get a win. So I say 8 games in, they're 3-5. I think that's completely reasonable. Look, 3-5 is not good, and the Nets are going to do a lot of losing. But they're just going to go up and down and lose every single one of these games. Right now, Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith are on this team. So the only real difference in the starting lineup is Bridges is out and Clowney is in. Now, I would imagine Schroeder's going to start. We don't know what the heck Ben Simmons is. I don't ever want to count on Ben Simmons. But right now, the difference is Bridges is out, Clowney is in. So you get bigger, you become a better rebounding team, and you lose that scorer who's really a secondary scorer. Okay, they're worse. There's no question that they're worse. So's Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is horrible. Cam could cook and easily score 40 that night and carry the Nets. The Nets may not be, look, I can see the Nets going one of 2 directions. They're going to compete. They have a rookie head coach who doesn't want to have 10-game losing streaks, 15-game losing streaks, 12-game. He wants to win. He wants to compete. He wants to build a reputation for himself. They're not going to lose. They're going to win games. Look, I can see it going one of 2 directions. They have a similar record, a 30-win schedule, a 30-win season like they had last year, or they win 15 into the worst team in the league. I can see either one of those 2 things. What we have to understand is currently the schedule, the starting lineup is quite poor. quite poor. But there's other poor starting lineups. And you have guys who want to win, who want to play well and play themselves out of that situation. Cam Johnson and Doe, for sure, want out. Absolutely, 100%. Schroeder says he wants to stay. I'm skeptical on that. I'm sure Schroeder at this stage, 30, 31 years old, whatever he is, he wants out too. He's on a tradable contract. Doe is on a good contract. And Cam Johnson, all of those three guys want out, which means they're going to have to play well. The better they play, the more someone's going to overperform. And if they're winning games, the Nets may want to trade them to stop winning games. So they're motivated to play well. If they play well and the Nets do win some games, then you're going to have to trade them. But right now, they're still on the team, which means, honestly, they're not much worse than they were last year, which was 32-50. So when I see the over-under, if you're asking me for a projection on what is the Nets record, 25-57. Okay? I've come up with that. I calculated that. I spent the time in my garage tinkering with the numbers. The Nets will go to 25-57 this year. I don't know where that will rank in the East. Obviously not high. That's not anywhere near a playing team, but they will go 25-57. They could get a lot of those wins early. Like if Doe and Cam Johnson are traded before the season starts, then maybe I'll recalculate that number. Couple of games of note, couple of things you want to highlight. The Knicks at the Knicks on November 14th and 15th, like I said, and then they're home. They welcome the Nets in Brooklyn on January 21st on TNT, and then they close out the season with the Knicks on April 13th, 2025. Those are the 4 games with the Knicks. They play Boston at Boston on the 8th of November, and then they're home. They host the NBA World Champion Boston Celtics on November 13th. They get to welcome Wembanyama on December 27th. No Christmas Day game, of course. And they get Kyrie Irving back in the building on March 24th. They will host Dallas on March 24th. Once again, Atlanta, very winnable game. Atlanta, very winnable game at Orlando, not so winnable. Milwaukee, Denver, not so winnable. At Memphis, not so winnable. Then they get Chicago, Detroit, Memphis. So they played Memphis twice for the year. They're done with Memphis by November 4th. That's an odd schedule. And everyone wants to kill the Nets. And I saw a meme going around saying which team is worse, this team or the 2010 team. And it's actually closer. It's more competitive than you might think. Like that team had Brook Lopez, who was emerging. Devin Harris was an all-star prior. But then it gets real bad. It gets so bad after that. This team has more quality players than that team, even though it doesn't have 2 guys who's made all-star games. It's got Ben Simmons, but Ben Simmons doesn't play. So that's the schedule. That's the recap. I think these projections that they're going to lose all 20 or 21 games, or they're going to be 0-19, or they're going to rival that 2010 team, which I think was 0-18, I think is ludicrous. I think that's absurd. Like, I think they may win game 1. Atlanta is going to want to rebuild as well. They're going to try to get the – Ricochet is starting. He's going to take a bunch of shots. He's going to be a bad defensive player. Trae Young's a bad – they're just not a good defensive team. And the Nets can beat them. Not saying that they're going to, but like my inkling is that they're going to win game 1. And they're not going to start the season nearly as bad as you think they are. They have, like I said, 3 good veterans, 3 quality veterans, Cam Thomas and Nick Claxton, right? Like, there's not a bad player in there. There's no bad players in that starting 5. I'm not saying the starting lineup is good. It's quite poor. But They're not showing up to lose. Cam Thomas, Dennis Schroeder, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Nick Claxton don't care. Maybe take Claxton out of that. The other guys don't care if you get Noah Clowney. Schroeder probably won't be there. Finney-Smith and Cam Johnson definitely aren't going to be there when Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey get here. Cam Thomas is playing for a contract. He wants to score 30 a night. He's going to play to win. He's trying to be an all-star this year. He doesn't care about Cooper Flagg or Ace Bailey. He wants to win. So I don't expect some putrid, horrible start. I really don't. Look, it's obviously not going to be a great start because they're not a great team. They're a poor roster. But these veterans are going to play to win, and they're playing for something else, whether it's playing to be traded or playing for a contract or what have you. They don't care about tanking for Cooper Flagg. You got to keep that in mind. This is their career. This is their paycheck. Jordy Fernandez doesn't want to be a laughingstock. He doesn't want to start his career as a head coach 0-18. And there are winnable games there. Like if home for Detroit and home for Chicago aren't winnable games, you're going 0-82. If those aren't winnable, you're going 0-82. And I get your first two home games you're going to lose. Denver and Milwaukee, you're almost certainly going to lose. The other thing that the Nets are going to win games if they compete. If they just play hard and they play their starters every day, every game, they play hard and they play their starters, which young teams do. You're going to win games by mistake. You're just going to win games by accident. You're just going to win games because you're playing hard and the other teams are load managing and sitting guys and whatever. And you keep playing hard, which you're going to do with a young core and a rookie head coach, you're just going to win games because you tried and the other team didn't, right? Like when they have back-to-back one night where they're in New York and in Brooklyn, they're going to rest their starters on the Brooklyn game because they want to win the New York game, the Knicks game. And Brooklyn Nets could win that game. So this idea that they're going to start 0-20, that they're going to win 12 games or 14 games, or they're going to be 2,000, it's just not the case. They're not going to be that atrocious. And that may make some of you happy, and that may make some of you sad. The tank for Cooper Flagg people, that's not going to make them happy. The people who think the Nets should try to win every day, which I'm one of those guys, you don't play to lose, you play to win, it's going to make them happy. But the Nets are going to win games. They're not going to go, like I said, 25-57 is a pretty atrocious record. But it's a lot more wins than 12 or 14 or 15 or whatever the ridiculous numbers have been projected by people. The over-under is 19.5. I say definitely take the over on that. But that's the Nets schedule. Let me know what you guys think. Drop me a like, subscribe. Absolutely free. Leave a comment, all the stuff YouTube loves. Follow me, 3D Boxing. 3D Boxing blog on all forms of social media. It is August 18th. It is my kids. I have twins. And exactly 10 years ago today, my twins were born. From Texas to the world, thank you and God bless.